So now there's banks preparing for chaos if the word that aliens were indeed real. Now we're getting more press conferences about things that supposedly, allegedly happened in the Varginha, Brazil case, where doctors were not only saying that aliens are real, saying we operated on them. We were in a room with them. Well, they're alive. There's that detailed report of what happened inside of that thing. There's various other sightings of creatures and whatnot, and rumors and consistent rumblings about what happens if there's actual disclosure and that there's admittance that we are indeed not alone here. What would happen? Now, a lot of people always say that it would be chaos and that we as human beings wouldn't be able to handle it. Just had this conversation recently about what a lot of the reasoning could be about withholding it, why it could be. And there's many theories, whether it's the fact some people could be going to jail, the fact that, there's, you think about it, the lawsuits that could come in, the various amounts of things, the questioning of religion. So much could happen if that indeed was a thing. Well, the Bank of England apparently really has a planning for the inevitable of what could happen, preparing for chaos in the financial world if aliens were indeed announced by the government. So check this article out. The New York Post here. And this is the Bank of England is warned to have a plan for inevitable financial chaos if alien existence is indeed confirmed. The Bank of England was advised to create a plan for the inevitable financial chaos that will result if and when world governments disclose the existence of aliens, according to a report. Former senior financial security analyst Helen McCaw sent a letter to the UK central bank urging the institution to prepare for the economic impact of little green men, the Times of London reported. If such a disclosure comes from the White House, Cambridge-educated McCaw projected in her letter, the revelation sent shockwaves through financial markets and the banking system and inspired general unrest among Earthlings. McCaw is not the first person to warn of the negative impacts that disclosure would have on society. In the documentary Age of Disclosure, physicist and UFO researcher Hal Puthoff revealed that the George W. Bush administration convened experts in the alien field in the early 2000s and tasked them with figuring out positives and negatives, revealing that mankind is not alone in the universe. That group weighed the impact on 60 different aspects of human culture, including religion and the stock market, and determined the negative fallout of public disclosure outweighed the benefits of the population at large. All right, so if you've been following my journey, I've been really hitting the gym for the last year or so and making sure, as I get older, that I'm doing things right. And I was feeling the change as I was getting older, and everything that was easy beforehand, it just wasn't anymore. I don't really talk about it a lot, but I guess I should talk about it now. I think it started to really hit me about 5 years ago. And now, even as I was starting to work out, I could feel it. No matter if I was eating well or whatever, I felt like sometimes I was just kind of, slugging along. And nobody really tells you about it as you get older. One day you're crushing it. Next day you're wondering why everything feels twice as hard. And I think some people your testosterone, it lowers as you get older. Here's the thing. Most men start losing testosterone around age 30, about 1% every year after that. So when the new year hit this year, I was like, wait a minute. I got to feel energized again. I don't want to feel worn down. I got this pilot coming up. I want to really hit these things hard. So I keep it simple, and I'm doing something natural that supports my body where I need it. And that was why I was excited to hear about Mars Men. What is it? It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself again. Because what I learned about it was that your body makes testosterone, but a lot of it gets locked up and it can't be used. And there's a protein called SHBG. It basically handcuffs your testosterone. Even if your body's making it, SHBG locks it up. You can't access it. It's like having money in the bank, but your debit card is not working. So Mars Men is designed to help free lock testosterone so your body can actually use it. There's no synthetics. There's no needles, just real ingredients that help optimize energy, focus, and strength. What's great about it is there's now stronger physical performance, fast recovery from the gym, more consistent, natural energy. It's not like drinking a cup of coffee. It's a steadier sense of drive throughout the day. Supports healthy T levels, energy, stamina, 8 natural clinically dosed ingredients, made in the USA, and it's third-party tested. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk with that. So the worst case is you don't like it, and you get your money back. But over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website and go check it out yourself. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping, 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. Perfect way to kick off the new year strong. That's mengotomars.com. You get 50% off and 3 free gifts at the checkout. So you're going to purchase, and then they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about us? You got to support our show, and you got to tell them that we sent you. Go check it out. Mars Men. Thank you to Mars Men. So listen, in regards to the bank, I think that it's probably not the only bank that has done that, nor should it, what's the preparation in general? What would you do in a circumstance like that? And when we were having conversations about, I think when I had Megan Medic on last week, and I asked her, I said, what has to happen? And she pretty much said, the president would have to come out and say it. That's the main thing. That's the main way with government disclosure. That's how that's going to happen. I'm working on getting Rep. Burleson in here, and one of the things I want to know is that, the fact that the vice president has made it clear that he's interested in finding out more about it. Why are they knocking on his door, getting his help about it in general? But there are many people who prepare, I'm sure, for things of not just this nature. If these things happen, if this is announced, if this happens, if this is attacked, if that is attacked, if that happens to go up in the market, if that happens, how are we prepared? That happens all of the time. So in a circumstance like this, now, whether or not it was a tip or there was something that was said, or maybe it's because she was watching the news conference on the Varginha case, who knows what it was? Maybe she just finished watching Age of Disclosure, whatever it might be, and whatever they think. It's like, well, how are we prepared in general? Because the bottom line is, if let's say hypothetically that what we find out that, A, we're not alone, that there are other creatures and the things like that out there. There are other beings, non-human, as they've said, that keeps coming up over and over and over again. Then with that comes the confirmation that we have this technology. We've been working on this technology. We do indeed have a reverse engineering program that we're working on. We have this type of energy. It's all like a trickle effect, right? So then it's like, well, this is the kind of energy that we do have, what it's capable of. Let's say that it's capable of the stuff that has been speculated, and whether it is clean energy and whether the world could change. Of course, stocks are going up and stocks are going down and stocks are crashing. Companies are going out of business. Different things are happening. That happens in general with the way things happen. I mean, look at Blockbuster Video. What was the stock of Blockbuster Video in 1992? And then eventually Kaputsky, because of the other technology that came in to replace it. Now it's a very different circumstance, it's a very different thing. Like you look at certain energy companies and that's one of the reasons too. And you look at whether it's oil or, look, so many different companies would not want this to happen for replacement of power and all that. That's again, a given. That's the type of things that happen. Now the bank's preparing. Does that necessarily mean, the banks know something? Not really. Like I said, it could be someone who just finished, smoked a doobie, watched, smoked a doobie. People still say smoke a doobie. If not, we should bring it back. This person smoked a doobie, watched Age of Disclosure, called their boss and said, hey, there's a bunch of U.S. senators out there talking about potential craft and alien remains and things of that nature. Should we prepare for this in case someone makes an announcement? Because most people think if there was going to be one president who decided out of nowhere to just pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, I'm going to tell everybody that aliens exist. I don't think we should do that, sir. I'm going to tell them. It'd probably be Trump. You would assume. Because he wants to be the guy that did it. And the guy that, who was the president? That's the president that will be remembered forever. Who was the president that announced that there were aliens and that we were not the only things in this universe. Eventually that'll happen, whether it's this administration or in 30, 40 years from now. Well, I guess we're never, but if it did happen, you're going to go, who's the president? So the bank's getting ahead of it. Makes sense to me. I don't know what I do see. It's funny because I had dinner with a friend of mine not too long ago, and we were talking about it. He had mentioned that my friend saw Age of Disclosure, and I think I mentioned this when I was talking to Megan, and how it was pretty much like, I'm all in now, and it did the trick. It did the trick of basically however you found this topic and however you got interested in this topic, the way that I did, as I mentioned, the National Geographic documentary. That's what this did for my friend. But my friend that I had dinner with was also so intrigued from my other friend talking about it too. And then I started going over it, and then I sent stuff to him, and I just sent him a moment of contact, and now he's all in. So this was kind of my earlier point of when I started doing this back in whenever it was, 2023. And I started watching these things. It's just a matter of the topic finding people, because if they don't, and this is the same friend who is now deep into this, knew that I was doing a show, and about a year and a half ago, he said to me, or on the phone, this is someone I've known, I mean, he's one of my best friends in the world, and I talked to him and he said, "Are you really, you believe in this thing? I don't really believe in any of this, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, very much so." I'm like, "The government, what is it? The government knows about this?" I'm like, this is about a year and a half ago. And since then, now he's I want to speak to him since he's watched Moment of Contact. He just told me that he was asking other recommendations, and he's going down the rabbit hole in the same way that I did. And I guess the same way that maybe I was skeptical before that 2017. I don't know. Skeptical is not the right word, because I always thought there was something. I just never really realized how far down the rabbit hole the government was involved with it until you start paying attention. And so, there's more things like this that come out. Even that thing with the Age of Disclosure, I didn't realize that. This was kind of my point of what I told you guys. And I know a lot of you yelled at me for this when it came to Age of Disclosure. And what I said to Megan Manick was that there's a lot of us who are in this space who knew all the information and had heard those stories before and heard those things before Age of Disclosure. It was meant for my friend to find, like, those types of people. And that's what it did. It did its trick. That's who it was meant for. I heard that story about Hal Puthoff talking about the Bush thing and how he told the story on Rogan. I've heard that story before. It's great. I'm glad that it's told it to a larger audience like that. And so that's the kind of information, those things, the more the stories are told in different mediums, the more that they are then spread out and more people find them. And the same question was asked for my friend that I talk to every single time I talk to you guys. Is like, he says, how come the mainstream media doesn't cover this as much? I was like, it's the question I've been asked forever. And I think I'm buying more into what Megan said the other day, and that's the fact that it's still as taboo as it ever was. It's just profitable now for some people, so they cover it. And I think that's the problem when it comes to the government. I think there's a lot of people who just turn their nose up at this thing and think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think there's tons of people in the news think it's absolutely ridiculous. They aren't going down the rabbit hole and watching these things. And they feel like there's bigger fish to fry and other things. And granted, there are things that are going on in the world right now that in one aspect supersede anything else too, and are way more important. In the grand scheme of things, I believe that if this is indeed something that could change humanity and help humanity, and maybe that's not the case, but if anybody's out there who really does know this, that it could shift humanity and get us past this barbaric, kind of archaic way that we live now, if that's possible with the amount of technology, with the amount of potential energy, with the amount of knowledge, if that's actually potentially out there. Now, I watched that, and I'm gonna not get the guy's name right, and it was the leader who from the Soviet Union, I believe, that Jesse Michaels talked to, said that he had been abducted, or not abducted, that he had spent time with creatures, and he had asked them how come they hadn't revealed themselves, and they said the human beings aren't ready yet. They're not evolved yet to get to that place yet. The scary part about that is that I feel like I believe that. You just turn on Twitter, or just scroll through Twitter, scroll TikTok. Real fast, you'll go, yeah, we're not ready. We're like, cavemen compared to if someone could loop back and forth into dimensions and things of that nature, have the technology to do it. And we're fighting over peanuts over here in the long run, in the scheme of things. So the banks preparing for financial chaos, yeah, of course, that's exactly what would happen. But I don't know. What do you think of this report? I want to know what you think. Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. I hope to have another video for you guys tomorrow. I'm going to try to be, like I told you, be more active now that I'm back in town. So thanks for being here. And if you didn't check out my interview with Megan, please go and check that out. I'm very proud of that one. We had a really good conversation. She's a really strong voice in this community. I think that she's starting to step up even more so. I think we're going to hear a lot more about her. I know she has some stuff with James Fox coming out soon. So check her out and check that interview out. So thanks again. Appreciate you. See you soon.